Yeah, Julia.
Ross.
Shah.
Michael. David.
Yes.
Paul. Saroja.
Carl. Tibor.
Rebecca.
Heyman.
Sheila.
Peter. Linda.
Jane.
Richard.
Adrian.
Dean.
Nisha. Jacinta. And
Chris.
Jason. And then we have Chris.
Conrad.
Conrad. And we have Bob.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Bob.
Good to see you all. And Kat introducing to the started with the most important thing: where's the toilet? Well, that's the most important. Yeah. And what we point to, is what all the ancient texts and that point to. It's not new, been around for thousands of years, but a lot of us don't notice. We've taken on this idea we are this person, this separate entity. But look in some of the ancient things that have been said and it's still written in books today, and they call it the basic space of awareness. Basic space. That's the base of everything. We miss out on that. And have a look. Anything or any one of you that's outside of space right now, look outside. Isn't all the manifestation appearing in space? Space is no thing. It's empty. But all these patterns, shapes and forms are appearing in it, including you, the me.
Just got reminded. Sorry. We're going to hear him a little better.
I've been emasculated. So that is all there is, space. But we don't realise or recognise that. Yet, when it's investigated, you can't help but see it. Space is no thing. Have a look. Can you find a centre to this space you are sitting in right now? Can you find a point where it begins? Does it have any boundaries to it? No centre, no circumference, no boundaries. And can you postulate or think of anything that's outside of it? You and I and everything that chairs and tables are all in that basic space, which is no thing. We say nothing and think it's zero, a vacuum or a void. Doesn't mean that at all. It means it hasn't got any pattern, shape or form. And all these patterns, shapes and forms are just like clouds in the sky. They appear, float around for a while and disappear. So the same with all this manifestation. The thoughts are coming up, appearing, playing around, disappearing, the feelings, the emotions, and everything else. But we've taken on the belief that we are this person, this separate entity, this individual. We've learnt words and take the word to be real and describe ourselves, what we think we are, with the word. And don't realise that the description can never be the described. And what we're trying to describe right now will never be its description. But it's only a pointer towards it. And that pointer towards you, have a look and realise that yes, I am not unaware right now. Isn't that so? Anybody who's not unaware right now, nobody jumps up and says, well, I'm not unaware. Why? Because you know already you can't negate that beingness or awareness. You can't say, I am not. There's a knowing what you are. But that knowing what you are, what sort of a story have you got around it? I'm so-and-so, born at such and such a time, this happened to me, that happened to me, and so and so and so and so. And there's a big conceptual story about it all. Not realising that the word's not the thing. All the stories are made up of words, concepts. It tells you in the Bible, in the beginning was the word. And none of it started till we learnt words. And none of us learnt words till you're about 18 months or a couple of years old. Some of you might have been a bit smarter and picked words quicker, and some of you a bit not so smart and picked them up a bit later. But before that, the first 18 months or so of your life, you had no words. So how can you say I was born when you don't remember? Because you had no words to say you were born. People try and tell you you were born. You're not, because you can't remember. We don't remember anything until we learn words. Yet there you were, and look at a little baby now and see it's functioning quite all right without the word until it picks up words. So it tells you in the Bible, in the beginning was the Word. That's when it all begins for us. The Word was with God. That's all that this so-called God is, another word. We put on something that we think is different. All things were made by Him, by the Word. And there was nothing made that was made without the Word. And so what are we doing here? We're speaking in words, concepts, ideas, images. So realise that what we're pointing to, that's all it is. Pointing towards something that is not its description, not we're describing anything. But there is a sense of presence. There is an awareness of being. Is anyone unaware right now? And I don't see any of you jumping up and saying, I'm not aware. Because you know damn well you can't. You are aware. You're not unaware. Being was another term they put on it. Being. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Nama, Rupa. That's the 5 factors of Advaita. Sat is existence. Chit is consciousness. Ananda is loving to be. Nama, Rupa is body, mind, name and form. They tell you that Nama, Rupa, body, mind is a Maya. It's illusion. These patterns which we're all expressing through right now, the patterns, shapes and forms of everything, is an illusory pattern. It's only appearing to be so. It's not its reality. Its reality is that one life, one essence, one intelligence, energy, or whatever label you like to put on it. Godliness or beingness. Being, knowing and loving to be. Anyone who is not being right now. Again, you know that you are being. But not being this or that with some concept on it, but just pure being. And being, you can't say you're not being. But it's not becoming either. We think we believe we are this person, this separate entity. We need to become something. But becoming is a concept of time. Implies a future. So that's another thing we need to look at. All these things need to be investigated. Because we've taken them to be real, the imagined to be real, and believe in it, but it's not the actual, it's not the real. As Nisargadatta tells you, nothing can trouble you except your own imagination. Break that word imagination down to imagine. Imagine. Isn't that what we're doing? We're creating mental or conceptual images. Take them to be real. Everything in this room is an image, an appearance, including these body minds. It's all appearance. And it's all transient. It's constantly changing. There is nothing static at all, anywhere. This body is changing right now. There's not 1 or 2 cells, but there's thousands of cells dying in it right now and being replaced. What are you doing about it if you think you're doing anything at all about it? And we take the time that I will become something. Becoming implies a future time. Investigate time. That's what we point to. These things need to be looked at, investigated, tested out. We never test them out. People say go to different people and learn different things and understand different things and just grasp them, but a lot of them is missed out on. People go to Ramana, or what Ramana was. He's died in 1960, but what it was, a so-called enlightened being. True, it was. But so they listen to what he says. They think they go to him and become enlightened and all the rest of it. But what does he tell you? He tells you in one of the greatest books you can read, is one of the things, is the Raibu Gita. You ever look in the Raibu Gita and see what it says? It tells you clearly in there there's no creation, no creator, and no creature. So there's no creator. You and I are creatures, creatures. But there's no creator and no creation. We don't listen to what he's saying. We go look and think he's going to give us something to tell us. That's what we do. We go to these different teachers and different things, think we're going to learn something. But see where they're coming from and what they're pointing to. The whole scriptural saying is know the truth, and the truth will set you free. It doesn't say don't believe in it or think of it, but know it. What is the truth? Am I this person? Am I this body? Am I this mind? Am I this human being? All different things. Call ourselves human beings. We'll have a look at that. Call ourselves human beings. We believe in God. We've got this concept of God, whatever we think God. We call God the Supreme Being. It's something greater than what we are. When basically they're telling us it's the basic space of phenomena. It's all basic space. It's all no thing, in which everything vibrates, patterns, shapes and forms, and appears to be real. Assembly. So it's no thing, no pattern, no shape, no form. But it's that one life, or one energy, or whatever label you like to put it, and the word is not the thing. Now, how many words were you born with? Looking into it again. You say, I was born, but as I pointed out before, you don't pick up any words till you're about 2.5, when the capacity of reasoning develops in you. Before the little child is not doing any reasoning because it hasn't developed. He just came out and he's still not that far from that embryonic state, where it's just a little fetus, a little thing. But he grew from that. Where did he begin? Where did you begin? We'll go back to your father and your mother. And then listen to what Nisargadatta points out when he says there is only life. There is nobody who lives a life. If that's true, that's what he means. That's all there is in this room, is life. That's all there is anywhere else, is life. What is life? It's being, it's knowing, it's loving to be. It's a happening, an appearance, a seeming occurrence, a vibrating pattern of intelligence in it that pattern shapes and forms this manifestation, which we take to be real, take to be separate, and isolated and separated. And in that isolation and separation becomes the fear, the anxiety, the stress, the guilt, the unhappiness, and all the problems we have in the idea of separation. Because, have a look at it, if you feel separate, you feel alone, you feel out of it, separate from it. What if you recognise you are the one essence, you are what they say is the absolute? What can you ever add to absolute? If you look into that and see absolute, there's nothing can be added to it at all. It wouldn't be absolute if you could add the smallest thing to it. There's nothing that can be taken away from it. It wouldn't be absolute if you can take anything away from it. And if you recognise that I am absolute, nothing can be added to me, nothing can be taken away. Who could ever be superior to? When before, looking at it, say, well, he's greater than I am, or they're not so good, they're smarter, or this, that, and the other. All sorts of concepts about this, that, and the other. If it's absolute, nothing can be added to it, nothing taken away. That means you are that absoluteness, the totality. Nobody superior to you, nobody inferior to you. And what could you want from the other person? You wouldn't be rocking around to take this away for them or gather this or whatever we try to do all the time, get something from somebody else or add to it. All this psychological suffering that we're carrying around with us now, how could it be there if it's absolute? There's no division to it or no separation. Just think of those things for a while and investigate. Could this be so? Could it not be so? And see for yourself. If everything as it is, one non-dual essence, one without a second, not two, only that. And that's what they tell us again. You'll see that if you read any of these ancient texts or books or hear some of the people that are propounding it will talk about, they'll say, I am that. Or that is all there is. It's only that. And when you look at that, you mightn't have looked into it before, but you say, well, that's true. That's the chair I'm sitting in. That's the room I'm in. That's the space in the room. That's the tree. That's the flower. That's you. That's me. Everything in this room, all the manifestation, all the patterns, shapes and forms are that in reality. But we put the labels on it. You, me, bird, room, space and everything. We put the other words which discriminate them with the words. And it tells you in anything, men, the great way is not difficult. The way that can be talked about is not the way. We're talking about it now, but it's not the way. It never will be, but points toward it. The great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. What do we do? We've got a preference about this, a preference about that. We like this, we don't like that. Continually dividing conceptually. Where? In images. And nothing can trouble you except your own imagination. And so he carries it on, he says there's only life. Doesn't mention anything about death, only life. And he says there's nobody who lives a life. Aren't you a body? Or think you're a body? I thought I was a body, mind. Not until investigations pointed out to see what they were saying was true. There is no body. This body is just a vibrating pattern of energy in which that life is expressing through, and patterning, shaping and expressing through, and appearing to be real. And if it wasn't for something to express through, how could it express? It would be in its absoluteness that it couldn't express as anything at all. So the patterns, shapes and forms, the vibrations, are appearance only, which they'll tell you again. It's all there. It is a phenomenal manifestation. This manifestation and everything is phenomenal. Look up your dictionary definition of phenomena. That which appears to be. What's appearance? Appearance is how it seems to be. When you look into the appearance, go down to the ocean, you might see a blue sea. Try and get a bucket of blue water out of the sea. You can't. It appears to be blue. The blue sky. You go outside on a clear day, there seems to be a blue canopy over it and it seems blue. Go up 30 or 40,000 feet in the plane. Is the blueness up there? It's not. The sky is only space, like the space in this room. Where's the blueness? Snake in a rope, the castle in the air, the different ways, the metaphors they use to point it out. It's pointed out. It's all there before our very eyes, which we ignore. And that's what they tell us. It's ignorance. And I hear that term and I think, well, I'm dull or stupid. Can't understand that. I don't realise it. It doesn't mean that at all. It means we turn our back on what is the actual, get the conceptual image about it, lodge into that and try and divide it and think of it in some concept, some pattern, some shape and form that will make it real. And ignoring its true nature, which is its cognizing emptiness, which the Buddha pointed out a couple of thousand years ago. It's pointed out all down along the ways. Many different and we think we are cognizing the emptiness. But he's not pointing that at all. It's the emptiness, it's a cognizing emptiness. It's the emptiness that is doing the cognizing or knowing. And he made a statement there and then that emptiness is form. All these pattern shapes and forms in this room and the room itself are forms. And it's all emptiness. Emptiness is form, and he turned it around the other way and said the forms can be nothing other than emptiness. And what is it? It's all vibrating energy, vibrating into something seemingly solid. Like you see that out there, you've got a propeller on a plane, you know, it turns just a blade. Starts spinning around, it looks like a solid circle. Things appear as different, you know. And in the appearance we take to be real. Look at the metaphors for all these things. When they're investigated, as they will tell you clearly, the false cannot stand up to investigation. Know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Don't believe in this, that, and the other, because a belief is not the actual. Look up your dictionary definition of belief. The definition of belief is an unquestioned acceptance of something in the absence of reason. Somebody tells you something, oh yeah, I believe that. Haven't investigated, haven't questioned it, taken it to be real. Acceptance of an alleged fact without positive knowledge or proof. And put it to that test, investigate it, and you'll realise what they say is true. The false cannot stand up to investigation. Because if you investigate it, you'll see through it. In seeing through it, what must you be left with? If you see the false as false, well, the opposite of false is the truth. So you recognise the false and see the false as false, what must you be left with? You can't believe in the false anymore, so you must be left with the truth. And they tell you that also. Know the truth, and the truth will set you free. That's where the freedom, peace and joy is. In the recognising of it. Not in your conceptual grasping of it. We try to grasp it with a mind, a thought. And Nisargadatta tells you that. We try to grasp it with a thought and fail. Try to grasp it with a concept and we fail. He says you're bound to fail. Bound to. Because it's non-conceptual awareness. So if we're trying to grasp it with a word, and that's what we do. We hear it and think we're going to grasp it with my concept will be better than your concept. I'll be telling you the truth. And this other won't be. But no concept is the truth. Because I tell you that also. The great perfection is non-conceptual awareness. So there it is. Anybody who is unaware right now, and innately you're absolutely certain. I'm not unaware, I am aware. What awareness is just another label. Just another word. But you can't negate it. Just like being. You can't say you are not being. You can say it, you can mouth the words, I'm not being, or I'm unaware. But what would you be able to say? And if that awareness or beingness wasn't there, would you be able to say any words at all? When you were a little fetus, a little embryo, how many words did you have then? None at all. Where did you begin? When he says there's only life, there's nobody who lives a life, when did that life start? Well, go back and look into it. Go back to your father and your mother. You mean that animating life essence, that intelligence energy that you call your father, in that pattern you call your father, the innate intelligence in the food he's eating, the air he's breathing, and the functioning of that life in that body, enabled in that body a little microscopic particle called a sperm to form. You can't see it with your naked eye. It's can't see the sperm's a blob of goo there. Put it under a microscope, you might see something moving in it. But in it was that life. And that life was suffused with intelligence. It knew what to do. The same thing in your mother, that animating life essence in your mother, enabled in that pattern, and like a microscopic particle called an egg, or an ovum to form. That egg or an ovum attached itself to the wall of the uterus, again implying it knew what to do. It was suffused with intelligence. It wasn't just a blob of nothingness. It was suffused with life. The sperm suffused with life swam to the ovum. And those two coming together, that cell doubled, redoubled, and formed the little fetus, the little embryo, which is what you are today. What were you doing about it then? If you think you're living and running the show, What were you doing about it then? Nothing. What are you doing about it now? Those cells that are dying in your body and being replaced right now. What are you as the person doing about it? You're not even, that breath you just took, did you just say, I'm going to take another breath or beat my heart? Or is it spontaneous and naturally happening, a natural functioning? That life, if that life wasn't in that body, what can a corpse do? Nothing at all. So when they're saying there's only life, there's nobody who lives that life, and you are the life, like Christ told you a couple of thousand years ago. He said, I am the way. I am the truth. I am the life. Not talking about himself. Talking about that sense of presence, the knowing that you are. That's the life. That's the way. That's the truth. Be that life. And recognise that life and see it spontaneously happening right now. Did you think about that breath you just took? Or about expanding or contracting a heart that just happened? Or the food that you've eaten this morning is rolling around in your guts being digested? We're not taking any notice of that. But that life is going on, breathing, beating a heart. And out there, what's it doing? Rolling the earth around the sun, causing the seasons to come and go, the tides to come in and out, the stars, planets, and things like that to form, vibrate, to implode, explode. Do whatever's happening, and all sorts of things are happening out there in that space like non-conceptual, ever-fresh presence awareness, which is not time-bound, it's not past or future, it's present, presently, spontaneously happening right now. And this is all we've got, is this presence. Yesterday is gone. The past is gone. You can't go back and live yesterday. Try it. You can recall it. You can recall something that you did, so-called a moment ago or yesterday. But if you're not recalling it, it's not there. And what you don't remember is forgotten for good. You'll never remember again because it's gone. So you can't go back and live in the past. You can imagine or anticipate it. Or when that's the future, is the imagination and anticipation. You can't live a moment in the future. But you can imagine what you're going to do when you leave here or anticipate what you do. But you can't live in the future. In the past, you can't recall the past. If you can't recall it, it's not there. So all does that leave you is this timeless presence. And as I say, it is timeless. When does now begin? Didn't it begin just now? Spontaneously? You say now, and even as you're saying that now, it was ending and beginning again. It's got no duration. Time is duration. From get to here to there, or the past and future are constant. You give it some time, seeming concept of duration in the body. But if it's a spontaneous functioning, an ever fresh and new, somewhat of a movement, not even a full movement, it's a spontaneous throb or pulsation. And recognise this is what I am. I am this sense of presence. I am this beingness. I cannot negate the being. I cannot say I am not. Can you? And you know damn well you can't. You can say it. I can say I'm not being, I'm not being. What are you doing? Aren't you telling yourself a lie because the beingness is there? You wouldn't be able to say if it wasn't there. So we don't notice these things. We get locked in the belief that we're separate entity, continually reinforcing, continuing to hear what others around us are telling us because they haven't investigated. And until it's investigated, we don't know. You people wouldn't be here if you weren't if you were satisfied with what you're told that all this thing, there's a big baddie upstairs is going to save you and do this and do all the rest of it, and all sorts of things are going to happen. You've heard that crap before, and you've come to the conclusion this is not so. And it takes you to look somewhere else. And realise that, and amazingly it'll take you where you've got to go to hear it. And there are others who are locked into it, will stay in it, and think, oh, I'm close to it now, I'll get it in the next day or two, and so cling to their beliefs and understanding, and so miss out on the actuality and reality of what they have. But naturally and inevitably, there's a resonation, something you hear or recognise or see will come up spontaneously, or you might hear it, or you might read it in a word in a page, or something that will resonate. When I mean resonate, that's something innate that will say, this is so, this is the truth, and makes you look further and go into it. And in the start of that, keep coming back and investigating, and it'll take you where you've got to go. And I can say that with an absolute certainty. Allow it to be, let it rest, as they say in the scripture, let it rest in this uncontrived singularity. They're talking about a singularity, non-dual, one without a second, only the one, which we make dualistically by the concepts. It's not dual, it's not two. And whatever the idea or concept is two is relationship, relative to. We think the male-female relationship. We've split it up into relationship. No wonder there's so much divorce and unhappiness and fear going on in that relationship, relative to. What happens if there's a natural merging, a natural recognition, a natural drawing to you? And those of you who expressed it in your lives will know, and know the differences. Something there that brings us together and keeps us together. And there is a sense of well-being in that. A lot of the hassle drops away. He's got this and she's like that. I love her, but I hate the bitch, she did this to me. And it goes on with all the concepts. Recognise that. That it's only the one. And you and I and everything else is one. Non-dual. That's what we point to, that's what we look at. The basic space of phenomena. Start with that fact. We think space is something separate. We're all sitting in space now. We think it's something separate. But it's not. It is what everything is appearing in, patterning, shaping and forming. But space has no centre to it. Have a look. See if you can find a point where space begins. Has no starting point. No centre. No beginning. Now, can you find a boundary to it? Can you find an edge to it, a stoppage to it? Is it blocked off somewhere? Can you postulate or think of anything at all that could be outside of space? What would it be in? So it's no thing. It's not encompassed by anything at all. There's nothing outside of it, nothing before it or nothing after it. It is the only reality that there is, a cognizing emptiness. So everything appears in that. And in the appearance, the seeming somewhat of a movement in it, patterns, shapes and forms appear. And this body is a pattern, shape and form. When it came about when the so-called little child was born, the pattern, shape and form appeared. Instead of seeing it, and that's what through that life is expressing through. That's what it's feeling through, the manifestation. And all these pattern, shapes and forms are the same thing. They form for the life to express through. But it's never changed its true nature. Never can and never will. So you see, when we divide it, what are we doing? We're separating it, and it becomes me and the not me. The me that's other than me. And so we think there's other than me, there's a separation from it, a division. But again, pointing out non-duality, one without a second, not two. It's inseparable. It cannot be separated. It never was, never could be, or never will be. It's indivisible. It can't be divided. And this mental concepts, that's all we're doing with the mental concepts, is dividing, because the nature is the mind, is to vibrate. And it vibrates dualistically. As Shakespeare pointed out here 200 or 400 years ago, he says there's nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Well, have a look at that. How do I think? Well, I'm in the past or in the future. I'm thinking pleasant, painful, happy, sad, loving, hating, positive, negative, dividing it all up with words, concepts. And they tell us non-conceptual awareness. Awareness without the words, without the... And the beginning in the word, I went through all those things before, pointing out. It's there, laid out ever before your eyes, but it goes unnoticed because we're stuck in this belief we are separate. We go to school, parents tell you little Johnny or little Billy or little Jean, whatever your name might be, and that thought, I am, comes upon it. Now, we learn why I am, and as soon as we say I am, we take it to be this person, this conceptual image. But I am is just the sense of presence, the knowing that you are, translates as that thought. I am. Am I a thought? We'll have a look. What's your next thought going to be? And if you look at it, the moment you'll tell me what the next thought is, you'll say, you can't say what your next thought is. Yet a thought will come up. A thought comes up, and you say, I think. As soon as the thought comes up, we claim it from this believed in entity. I think. This believed in person, me, Bob, now he's thinking a thought. And what's the thought I think? It's become the thinker. Now, instead of just thinking, I've got the concept. I'm a thinker. I'm a thinker. This is thought. I think. And what's the thought? Become the subject, the object. I'm thinking this thought that I'm not good enough, or I'm fearful, or this is not so, I don't like you, or whatever the thought might be. So now it's divided into subject-object, dualism. Can there be a thinker without thinking? Stop and have a look at that. Everyone right now, without a thought, what can you say? If you pause it for a moment. Not putting any concepts on it. Hasn't stopped the seeing or having. It's not, nothing's being labelled, it's just seen as it is. As they say, seeing no thing, yet it is seen. Hearing no thing, yet it is heard. So the seeing, the thinking, the tasting, the touching, the smelling, the ing that's going on is the actual. Leaving it as it is, that's what the actual is. But when you say, I see, I think, I feel, I see, I taste, you're relating it to the person, to me. Now this conceptual image, me think, I see, I think, and I thoughts are better than your thoughts, and I know more than what you do, you're an arsehole, this, that, and the other. All the concepts come up. But who's the thinker? And realise again, well, the thinker can only be the thought, I see. If you're not thinking the thought, I see, you're back into the pure seeing and pure wearing. So we're constantly relating to this believed in entity, which is no person, no subject, no object. It is just what is. What is not what was. It's not what will be. Is right now. The seemingly nowness, if you like to put that term on it. This spontaneous presence. Try and get away from it. And I say, when that little fetus starts to form, the sperm and the ovum coming together, it grows and grows. Where's the growing go? Where does it fed from? And you realise attached to the cord of your mother, the umbilical cord. The life's coming through the mother into that cord. When the child comes out, is born, what happens? They cut the cord. And then what happens? The life is in the child, it's left the mother. What do they call it? They call it, Christ said, you are the light of the world. The light of life. Tells us in the scripture, do not hide your light under a bushel. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify the Father. That life essence, the light, the sun of spirit, because what they call this the solar plexus. We are joined with the cord. Solar meaning the sun or the light. So where the light comes into your body, the light of life. And light is like that light. It needs somewhere to shine out. That's covered, it's dark. And when the light needs an aperture to shine out, where's the light of life shine out of you? Doesn't it shine through your eyes? In that light. And then what Christ told you, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the light. Not talking about himself, he's talking about that light of life. And Nisargadatta tells us there's only life. There's only that light. Everything is in that light of life. And you are the life. That's what needs to be remembered. Because he tells you, what can be remembered and forgotten is not you. You are what is. What you think you are or what you believe you are, but what is right now. Jump up and tell me you're not, if you can. I don't see it happening. Why? Because innately you already know it. If you didn't know it, you'd say, yeah, you're full of shit. I'm not so, I'm going to tell you, I'm here. But you can't say that because you know you cannot negate your being. And I think it was Ramdas says, be what you are. Not what you pretend to be or what you think you are. Be what you are. What is I? What am I? Well, there it is again. It's there. I am that. All the scriptural books will tell you that I am that is the great mantra. That is what I am. And you know that. Because that's the chair I'm sitting in. That's the room the chair's in. That's the space in the room. That's the tree. That's the flower. Before we put words or labels on everything else, it's all that. And it's still all that, even if you discriminate it with the word. And the word is never the thing. It's never the real. This is what we point to. And I should look at it, take it from there, put your own version on it or whatever, but keep it going. Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you. Where's she taking? Look at it.
Yes, so we have a couple of comments from, we have plenty of welcome messages. Good morning to the whole crew from all over the world and all over Australia. And we have, it's not really a question, it's a comment. Can we ever relate to another? This is from British Julia, but it's not a question because the answer is right here. Only one. Just recognizing the oneness in everything. Recognize thee in all thy ways. It's only one. And Laura says, I love when Bob swears. It's not really cursing anyone, it's a passion. And that's it really, apart from a lot of good mornings. And Marco says good morning from hospital in Perth. Hope you're going to be well, Marco, long time no see. And from all over the world. Okay, so yeah, the mic goes to you guys now. If there was anything that particularly touched your heart and you resonated with, just repeat it out loud and it may make a difference for others. You want to start, Richard?
Yes, I certainly there can't be a thought without an I, but there can be a phone without an I. Also, there's this interesting Maori woman in New Zealand who has this relationship with water to the degree that she can ask a question of water and get what she calls a water glyph with the answer. And she asked water, what is death? And the response was the glyph of life.
Beautiful. Peter.
Hello, everybody. Thank you. I'm just struck by the notion that I'm life. Yeah, really, I am life. Where is that life in me, though? You see, we can't identify where that is and what it is, can we? But we know we are that, and that is the totality of this teaching, isn't it, Bob? That, just know that we're life, feel the vibration, not even in the body. It's not limited to the skin bag, are we? We see life outside of us. And in that we are that. Must be that. We're everything. Everything everywhere. Cannot be any different to that. When you really just take it on board, it's a fantastic thing. No more concepts about it, I'm afraid. Thank you.
Thank you.
David?
Oh, okay. You tell me. Just a thought slightly different to what Peter was talking about, which is I take my hat off in regards to. But in regards to space, it's almost a rhetoric thought. And just ask yourselves, what would happen if space did not exist? My answer to that is there would be just one homogeneous mass. There would be no shape or form, nothing. Nothing would be defined. Nothing would exist. It would just be... Anyway, just a thought on spacelessness, if it could exist. But it does exist.
Yeah, we had a meeting yesterday with someone, individual meeting, and she was asking about just that, the life, the space, and she says, "Oh, is it everything is alive? Is the piece of brick alive, and is the matter alive?" So this kind of begs for a little bit of an explanation, because the way mind understands aliveness, it projects right away some sense of self-consciousness. That's not what we point at. It really is and it isn't at the same time. The aliveness, the movement of energy, when you think of the movement of the subatomic particles constituting matter, is a movement. You can call the movement life. You can see the atoms, they have beginning and an end, they have some lifespan. So they create this vibration, create some sense of a solidity there. And they somehow keep the integrity, to actually break the atom, you need a lot of energy. You get a lot of energy as well. But there is some sense of integrity. It doesn't mean that there is a consciousness in the atom. But again, it depends on the definition of consciousness. Because if you define consciousness as the movement of energy, then everything is that. Everything is the consciousness. If you define awareness as a potential for that movement of energy to actualize as form, then everything is awareness. It all depends on the definition. And the space, again, does it exist or it doesn't? Is it the absence of object or is it a presence of something? It all depends on the language, and we are pointing beyond the language. So it is more of the intuitive grasp, it is more of the resonation with the heart, recognition of what is already known. There is presence, there is awareness of presence, it is known in the heart. Is the same awareness of presence in a tree? Who cares? If you actually sit down in that awareness, or in the plastic bag or anything, if you sit in that awareness of presence, and you realize that the concepts, only the concept, separates you from every other form, or that, like Peter was saying, identification with a skin bag. When that thought is not present, you are the field of knowing, and everything appears in that field of knowing. Your body, other bodies, plastic bags, bricks, whatever, everything is part of that field of knowing. It's a content of that field of knowing. And there is only a thought that tells you that you are here and this is out there. Without that thought, it's pure experiencing. That's what we are, experiencing, being, seeing, hearing. And in that, there is no question of identity. There is no question of, because the question of identity is question of creating a boundaries. You don't need those boundaries. Life goes on without the idea that I am limited to my shape or form or to my conceptual image. Life can be lived much more effortlessly, and it's really a dance without that source of suffering which comes from the self-identity created by the habitual way of thinking, identifying with the image. But when we see what the image is, it's just a bundle of memories from the past. It's just a bundle of ideas. So life is going on, and within that life, within that conscious awareness, bundle of ideas arises, the belief flows into the bundle of ideas, and that's how suffering comes about. While recognizing this process, that bundle of idea may still be arising, the attention may still be going there, but there is still a little bit of a relaxed attention laughing from the background. Wow, that's how the whole dream comes about. Amazing. Doesn't even have to stop. But now you are that background, that knowing of what is going on in the appearance. And that's a completely different game. And you want to say it your way?
No, just affirming that.
Oh, yeah,
that
but
was-
you say it pretty well too.
I don't know, that was pretty on the point.
Someone in,
Yeah,
David.
the
Oh,
field of knowing of the body sensations, sense perceptions, it feels very strong and feels very local.
yes.
So how to shake off that belief of the sense perceptions are local? Even if you don't think, like, you can feel the sensations and feels very local. So
Wonderful.
so
Isn't
how
that right?
is it? But does it feels that I am a separate body, or that the body is separate to, because sense perception are limited to this area. So how, and then that contradicts with the field of knowing of everything. So how to shake off that belief where the sense perceptions are not local?
You don't have to. Yes, Bob wants to say something.
Does he?
I heard you taking a breath.
Aren't I allowed to breathe?
Yes, you are. Yeah, see, the
No, they-
animals are also having that. You go.
I say, well, no, habitually you've taken on the belief that you are this person, and it's reinforced every day by everybody around you, and everybody's saying it. Now, when you sort of stand alone, when you look into it, and it's very hard for a start off, because, you know, everything's so been believed in so often, so seemingly real. But something will keep reminding, and you'll have a look, and you'll start to get a glimpse of things are not how they appear to be. It might take what you call time, but there's no such thing as time. It might not. It might be seen immediately and recognised. But in the investigation, in the questioning, in the looking, the truth will be seen. It's the saying of knowing the truth. And you can only know the truth by seeing the false as false. So if you investigate anything, test it out. Is this true? Is this false? And you'll see it's false. Like, you know, you believed in Santa Claus when you were kids. You know, who'd believe in it today? Yeah, so it's yours. You take it.
I just want a big present.
That's why I said you just want presents.
But Bob, maybe if you answer that question, do you feel a sense of location? You know, when you are moving, can you feel that there is a sense of location from which the seeing is happening, the angle? Because there may be subtle expectation that you're going to lose all your functionality, and you're going to stop feeling a sense of location. Like, have you seen an animal who doesn't have a sense of location? This is all wonderful. This is perfectly brilliant to have that vehicle equipped already in that sensory perceptions and senses. You know, even when you drive the car, you have the sense of the shape of a car, so you don't crash with other cars. You know how to park it. This is brilliant. You don't want that to go. If that goes, you may want to see the neurosurgeon. It is the idea that it should go. Sense of location It's really fantastic device that help the body-mind to function. You have the sense of location, don't you?
Sense of presence.
Location of the body. You see where the chair is, where your butt is sitting, you know. You know how to put the food to your mouth. That sense of functionality.
Yeah, anybody outside of space?
No.
Presence.
Try to locate that to the body. So
Pardon?
the sense of perceptions make us feel that we have a body.
There appears to be a sense of having a body from way back when you're first conditioned to believe in it. But
So from the investigation, it feels that the body is a belief because it's just how it appears in the sense perceptions, like in the eyes and the feel, touch and all the sense perceptions. But
you think you're a body now?
Yeah. It helps if I close my eyes. Then when you close the eyes, shut down the eyes, and it's easier to feel that it's the field of knowing is more apparent. But even then, the sense that you're a separate body is very strong. So my question was how to...
It's been reinforced day in, day out for years. It seems very strong. But when you're in deep sleep, you wake up in the morning, could you remember your sleep? Deep sleep? Did you have a body then?
No.
You didn't. So it only appears when that seeming waking state comes about.
Yeah.
But you were, whether you know it or not, you were, because you wake up in the morning, you were there, or well, not you were there, but there was that life was there, and everything appears as that life. It all appears and expresses. And as I say, if you didn't have that pattern, how could you see? How could you hear? Taste, touch, or smell, or do anything?
See, it kind of feels like, and I'm totally with you. Yes, it does. It is the illusion. It's really persistent, and it's really brilliantly designed for the life to get fooled that it is the individual, that it is the body. It is, and it is meant to be this way. But when you assume that you are really that life and not the individual, because being individual, you will only find the evidence of being individual, and that will be unbreakable. But if you actually see that you are that life, and you gave yourself the body, you grew the body from being a little fetus, you as life, you gave yourself the eyes, you can give yourself binoculars, a microscope, and you see differently. Your perception is changed. You can also install few cameras and have the computer, and you will have different angles of perception. You can also install little sensors and get the sense of other locations as well. But this is really you as life experiencing itself through the body and as the body. Body is not excluded. Without the body, as Bob says, life is blind, it can't see. I mean, it sees through the other bodies, but in this particular way that the life is experienced, it is tinted by the body. Of course, like eagle sees different things. The hyena sees or smells different things. Is the experiencing is completely colored by the body. But the being is not. The basic screen of being is not. On that being, those experiences come. One of those experiences is sense of location. It has to be there. Without it, there is no experiencing. But the assumption that because there is sense of location, this is who I am, I'm the sense of location.
Exactly, yes. It feels like you're separate, and then, the body is separate, and everything is separate.
Have you seen it?
Bob, did you want to say
It
something?
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, okay.
It's just that if you just humour me for a minute and drop the belief that you are a separate entity located there, right? If you just do that, and then look at the genesis of ideas that flow from that, and see whether they're any different really. Is there any difference between your sense of the idea developing in you and the sense of being localised there? Is that any different to the idea of Bob or me or anybody also being over here. You see what I'm driving at? You just look very fundamentally at the very essence of those ideas as they arise. You'll see there's no difference between them. Everything is that the similar, comes and goes in a similar way, you know. That's an interesting thing, I think.
Yeah. I just want to say, you know, we arrive, as it were, and we get totally indoctrinated with a story. Okay, and the story is that this is an individual and this is my body, but you know there is only one, and it all works together. There's the sun that's sustainable. There's the air. There's the water. There's food. There's the community that supports you. There's you know, and this is what the mind does. It picks all this stuff out, and it says, but actually there is just one big system, yeah? And, you know, you have a car, you drive a car, you say, I have a car, it's not yours. You say, there is a sun, you know, that sustains you, just like your heart does. Do you call it part of you? In actual fact, it's all one big system, and the mind wants to localise it, and that is just conditioning. And you know, really, if you just sit there and you don't even have to close your eyes, you know, it's there's nothing. There is no locality. I mean, the mind will talk about science and useful things like that, but actually there is no sense of locality. There is just I am, and the rest of it is thoughts. Anyway, that's my take.
Beautiful. Well said.
Beautiful. Michael, did you want to say something?
But I am is a thought.
It is a thought, okay, and it's not the reality. It's just a thought.
Yeah.
Arises in exactly the same way. Everything arises in the same way. How can then, therefore, put any credibility on the distinctions we make?
Yeah, anything that you describe is not it.
As soon as we start talking, we get in trouble.
Exactly. Exactly.
We're thinking, you don't have to speak. Can we speak one after?
Yeah, we've got a veranda and some steps leading down to the veranda, and next to the steps in the garden was this big yucca tree. I don't know whether you know what that is, but it's quite tall. It's about 2 to 3 metres high. And this thing had 4 big branches coming off it, and it was dead, basically. I could rock it and pull it out of the ground. And I was going to do that, but it was too big, so I sawed off the branches, and I had 4 branches like this, and it looked nice. And I thought, well, instead of pulling it out of the ground, I'll just put a pot plant in there. And I put the pot plant in, and as far as I was concerned, the thing was dead. 4 months later, it sprouted these big spiky leaves. And I thought, okay, well, which part of it is the tree? And I removed the branches. I could have cut it down to a stump, and it probably still would have sprouted these big green spiky leaves. So what would have happened if I pulled it out and I took it away from the soil? It would have died. What happens if I removed the sunshine? It would have died. What if I removed it from the atmosphere, the carbon dioxide or the water? It would have died. So which part is the tree? And are we any different?
Yeah. Can I just say, ever so quickly?
Yeah.
Call.
Just ever so quickly, when we say I am, that's another concept. In fact, everything is prior to words.
Exactly. Thank you.
Beautiful. We have a couple of comments. Do you want to say something, Peter? Or I have Richard. Okay, go, Richard.
When awakeness happens in the morning, there's absolutely no sense of self but very quickly that is accompanied by fear, because there is also no sense of location.
Beautiful. I have a couple of comments from online community, and this is from Ram. You cannot conceive of so-called world without space, because you cannot conceive of something that is inconceivable. This is why we use the expression space-like awareness. Beautiful. And this is Bill. There is no sense of location when you walk to the billabong. It returns when you think about the blue dragonfly hovering above the muddy water. Locality comes and goes, one experiencing as everything. Beautiful. And Vivek says, when we close the eyes, where is my location? It is just existence. In existence, there is no location, time, form. And I'll just say this about the location, existence, presence, or moving exist, or like locality. Can you actually point about the locality of the existence in any other ways that here? Where are you located? It is here. When you want to conceive of the country or the part of the continent or the city or the address, that takes a lot of thinking. But in direct experience, the only thing you can ever say about the location is, it is here, it is right here, it is right now. But does it actually locate it anywhere? So whether someone says, oh yeah, I don't have sense of location, I do have sense location, here. But here means nothing, it's just a pointer. So that's that. I love the way Bill pointed out that sense of location may arise or not, but it doesn't make any difference. The experiencing goes on all the time. Within that experiencing, the perceptions arise, the sense of location arises, the concepts arise, the sounds arise. But the sense of being, that field of knowing, that open field of awareness, that one never changes. Even in the sleep. In the sleep, during the dream, the field is there. If there is nothing showing up on that field, then the field can't be consciously known, because it needs the opposite. Sometimes the dream appears on that field of knowing. And in the dream you will have different body that will be climbing the mountains and going through the cities. Not the body that is lying on bed sleeping, but different body. The body on the bed has eyes closed, it can't see. But the body in the dream can see everything, has the eyes open, is talking, while the body on the bed doesn't speak. So even that type of a dream arises in the field of knowing. Where is your location then? When you're in a dream, and let's say you are riding on a boat or you're driving a car, the location is always here. Although relative location will be, oh, I was in another place or another city, I was visiting my family or whatever. But it is just a temporary arising phenomena, just like every thought shape or image in the mind. They are, when you see, they are totally beautiful and mind-blowing. They don't have to bound. They don't have to be a source of suffering. And there is no expectations for the dreaming to stop. That's why, who was it? Was it Leo Hartog that says, you awaken to the dream, not from the dream.
That's it.
From the dream, awakening from the dream is when the body drops off. There is no dreaming anymore. The body-mind is a dream projector. It keeps projecting dreams. That's its function, and it won't cease. Even when you get the brain damage or Alzheimer's disease, it will, scrambled dreams it will still produce. Or you're on psychedelic, the dreams will be a little bit more colorful, scrambled. But it still projects the dreams.
Sure will.
The awakening to the fact that the dreaming is going on doesn't happen to the person. It is that field of knowing, suddenly just relaxing and being that field of knowing, and watching the dreams happening within it. The dreams will continue.
Body dies. You're a corpse. Where's the life then?
Decomposing.
You can't say you're the body then. Somebody was saying, but is that the end of it? Well, the germs, the microbes, the bacteria start to devour that body and eat it. It's given life to other things. But you're not the body. You never were. Yeah. Seeming what we call life that's in the body. That's just that pure functioning, vibrating intelligence. That vibrates and patterns in all those different shapes and
Speak
lines.
up, darling.
That's it.
Vivek says, what is the location of water in the ocean? And that's a good question also.
Yeah.
What is not, like what am I not? What is not a location? Or it's really just, it's really that investigation using the mind, using the thought, is only designed to just put you in front of the wall and drop that whole line of thinking, drop into that field beyond the thought. Whatever works. Am I that, or that am I, or it am I, or whatever the line of thinking is, whatever works to actually just drop from that headspace into that relaxed natural state.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Bob. If we are life and then we die, then what is life?
Life is that vibrating life essence, pattern, shapes and forms. Everything's intelligence, energy, just a seeming subtle, somewhat of a movement. But it's all no thing, no shape or no form, all just a seeming appearance. Vibrates into seeming pattern, shapes and forms, but no thing has ever happened. Not a vacuum or a void, but no thing. You and I and everything else, the appearances, are all things. All appearing in space, which is no thing. But can something come from no thing? So though it appears and seems to be so, it is not so. It never was. It's imagined or imaged in. We imagine things. Things appear. Like you look in a mirror, you see an image in the mirror. You can't say it's not there, but go and try and grab the image out of the mirror, can you? It seems to be there, but when you investigate, there's nothing there. Only appearance.
The expression intelligence energy for me was just always so helpful to describe what life is.
Is which?
Intelligence energy. You know, if you're like you said it, I'm just kind of restating what you just said. So, I'm being redundant, but just this, this what you said about intelligence energy. It's an ing. It's this being. Okay, life is ing. It's not a thing. It's lifing. Okay, it's a movement of energy, but more specifically an intelligence energy. Not knowing 1 + 1 is 2, but it's knowing that to know. I don't know. It's a knowing of knowing. It's a knowing of being. It's movement. It's a movement. And when I saw my father's dead body, wow, that was like something I'd never seen without that life. It was like I could see. Wow, that's not him. That's not his. Something's not home. That's not him. And I just felt when I saw that, wow. If you don't have access to a human corpse ever, go to a farm and notice a chicken on the farm, and then go to the grocery store and you tell me if there's a difference. There's when I saw that, it was just like, wow, that's like 100% proof that I'm not this body, that he's not that body. That there's a body, something's missing. What's missing? Energy. Obviously, it was still as still could be. You know what I mean? There was like nothing moving, no movement. Maybe a maggot might have been moving in there, but no movement. It was, yeah.
Bob? Yeah.
Intelligence, energy, the activity of knowing. Have a look at this, all the patterns appearing in this room. They're not haphazard or just random things. They're all patterns, intelligent, full of intelligence, the way they're pattern, shape and form. Implies they're suffused with intelligence. And intelligence is an activity, not something that's happening right now. And any activity or movement is energy. So it's all this manifestation is intelligence, energy vibrating into different patterns, shapes and forms. Not willy-nilly, accidental or happening as could happen as if it wasn't suffused with intelligence. What would these bodies be like? What would you couldn't say anything at all about it.
And that's beautiful, because I wanted actually to close that gap, because when we say you are not the body, that's not entirely true, because that creates duality. I'm the life, but not this. There is two now. And what Bob just pointed out, there is no duality. The life that you are created the trees, the bodies, the thoughts, all of it is made of the same life vibrating into different shapes and forms. This pointer, and Nisargadatta used that pointer, and it actually really helped Bob. You are not the body, you're not the mind. But it isn't entirely true. It is only designed to shift the persistent identity with the body-mind. Once that persistent identity is shifted, the body and mind is all included, because I am no thing with the potential of everything. As that potential, the energy, I am the body and the mind and your body and your and tree and clouds, all of it. There is no duality in it. But it is a good pointer.
Yeah, it's the thinking or just the thoughts. So you just have energy and you just are. That really is the only thing that divides anything. It's a believed in thought. We can have a thought. I say sheshe and you don't know what I'm saying.
I do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you in Chinese.
That's all right. I had a couple. Maybe it's cold.
What are you doing then?
No, cold.
I just have a quick word.
Yeah.
While I have
Yes.
One thing that really helps me is that I see how I create everything. I come out of deep sleep, out of nothing, into something, and everything comes from my concept, from my beliefs, from my creation of the world. I create everybody here. Sorry, you don't exist. I'm the creator. And then at night time again, you're gone, I'm gone. And that's the oneness that I see very clearly.
Beautiful. When you say I life, not I the imagined entity. Beautiful.
Yeah, we were talking a bit about location a bit earlier, and life is everywhere. Bob was saying when this body dies, that life goes on. Life goes on. There were lots of bacteria and maggots and all sorts of things, but life is everywhere. The air is full of life. And life is ubiquitous. Is everywhere. It's non-local. And this mind, if you like, this idea, it wants to be unique. It wants to be special, and it wants to think that life is something that is uniquely mine, and it isn't. Life is, and just make sure about this. All this is it's prior to thought. So whatever you say is not it.
Exactly. You can only know what you're not. That's it in a nutshell.
Wherever I go, there I am. I was relaxing into the field of awareness,
during the week, last week, and I sideswiped a Toyota Corolla. I hit the front corner of the Toyota Corolla. I'd lost all sense of location as far as the outside of the van I was driving. Well, that was bad enough. But there were about 4 or 5 incidents happened within 24 hours, the same thing. So it was life trying to teach this persona something. But another time it was just driving through a lane in an underground car park, and I'm just driving through in the field of awareness, and bang, I hit the left-hand rear vision mirror, side mirror of another car on the right. But this time it didn't do much damage apart from knocking the mirror. But the woman inside the car,
Got a fright.
she must have known that this person next to her was resting in the field of awareness. And she loudly blew her horn. So I quickly got out and inspected the damage and talked to her, and she said, "Oh, it seems to be all right." And we pushed the mirror back. And disorientation had taken place.
Where are you parked?
Anyway, anyone who'd like a lift to Sophia?
Jason. There's a few people that want to speak.
Yeah, Nisha, you want?
Nisha, James.
Hello. I guess firstly, the sparking of thoughts, it's like this little chain reaction in the room. It's really incredible to watch. I feel like everyone always wants to speak all at once, and that's really interesting. It's like we're interacting on this level of I guess consciousness interacting with itself, and it's like bang, 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 me, let's all talk. And I like that. But I guess who you ask, if you ask a Christian, life is God or Holy Spirit. If you ask a yogi, it might be yin and yang, Shakti, Shiva, masculine, feminine, life force, energy, Holy Spirit. I don't know how, Allah, God, Jesus, Christ consciousness, all of it is life. But yeah, it all seems so grand, all of those words. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know, I think it's
super simple.
It's so simple, yeah.
Beautiful.
I forgot where I was going. That was it.
But that's perfect.
Yeah.
The grandiosity of those expressions versus simplicity of direct experience.
Yeah.
And that they're all pointing to the same thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Every way is a good way.
Yeah.
Every way is good. Yes, that's right.
Just such a great question. What is life? I think this is the challenge of pointing to the non-dual, but in a dualistic framework, which is words, right? Because life is the opposite of death. They're mutually exclusive. So, but what is birthless and deathless? And that is, it just is, and it's right here, right now. So we can say that there's only life, but there really just isness, and even the concept of life is the opposite of death. That's still in a dualistic framework. So seeing what's here is birthless and deathless, beyond opposites.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
I remembered where I was going. I had a little bit more. Okay, I remembered the last part. So we've got Bob's cards that Kat made, which are really lovely, and one of them I think it's been
no, don't look for
here
it.
you go. Only $50.99, postage included. One of them talks about, or it says, are you the computer program or the energy or the electricity that powers the program?
Exactly.
And that one really resonated when I read that. It was like this program, like the brain and its programming and, you know, its meganesia, the power behind that program, like it exists infinitely. And that, I don't know, I read it and it really, it really kind of sparked a deep train of,
that's
thought.
that's the resonation. And we have a person here, I think Giorgi, who says another way to think about this is electric energy flowing through different appliances. Toaster doesn't need to merge with the kettle. It is the same energy flowing through. And I use that metaphor a lot as well, because it's just such a clear metaphor. You could also use the sunlight giving life. But energy, Bob uses the power that is in the computer. And then you have all those things popping up on the screen. Without the power, it would be nothing. Yeah, it's a metaphor, but it's really good metaphor because it kind of resonates. Thank you for bringing it up. Jason, did you want to?
I loved what you said before. Whatever that was, I can't remember it. No, the guy with the blue. I want you guys to contemplate a word, concurrence. Throw out non-duality, add in concurrence. So that everything that's nothing, the infinite, hugely expanding, exploding space that's infinitesimally small, sparkling, non-sparkle, noumenon. I'm surprised you didn't say it, Bob. The noumenon. What's before phenomenon? The noumenon.
Yeah.
If you are concurrently aware as that, then time does exist. Body does exist. Ego does exist. And I will go as far to say that whatever it is in here that gives you the perceptual capacity to focus with your volitional attention means you can be concurrently aware as and time. Does that make sense? Did I say that right?
Sounded good.
That's the way to trip the mind. To use a lot of scientific words so nobody can follow, and then the mind stops.
I use new words on purpose.
Good.
What's the definition of noumenon?
Noumenon.
That. Yeah.
Google it. Google actually gives. First time ever I used AI.
Unmanifest.
Unmanifested. Yeah.
Even in its unicity, you can't know itself. That's phenomenon.
Yeah, so Bob often uses the definition of phenomenon, which is that which appears to be. Phenomenon is the appearance. And nomenon doesn't even appear. That doesn't appear. It doesn't underlies it's a field for the phenomena to appear.
It's the field of potentiality. The void is the other word that people might understand. You want to say?
No, absolutely. Do you want to say that?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've really got a comment or anything. I just love Bob's spiel this morning, just the firmness of it, just the real directness on it. There's no grey areas or, trapdoors. It's like this is a direct, investigation, and not to sort of be too lazy with it, like pointing it and actually investigating these direct pointings. It's just so firm and so confident, and just comes from that place of a deeper place where it's like it feels truth, and then something in here recognises that, like Bob says, the truth will set you free. So it feels like there is just this light coursing through the physical body, and that energy is just observing. It's not really passing comment on something or making a judgment about something. I mean, those might come up, but it's like there's an observation without putting a story on it and a concept on what's going on. It's just observing, and not even a witness. I think that the trick is the misidentification. Anything that comes and goes is, if there's an attachment to anything that's coming and going, the identification with that, even like a witness, even anything like that, needs to be recognised and not identified with. and returning to the space. That's the big thing. I think it's like you keep going off into these stuff that can take down a rabbit hole, and it's like then coming back, recognising that's not what I am, and that's moving and going and returning to that. So yeah, thanks.
Beautiful. Not going down to the rabbit hole. I have a couple of comments from online community, and this is Martin. He says, "The thought I am is. Because of that, without that, there is no I am. Take a look. What enables the thought I am to appear?" Good point. Yes. And Bill says, "Wanting to know who you are requires you to let go of who you imagine yourself to be." Beautiful. Thank you. Julia, did you want to?
Just say one thing I've said in other meetings before, but it was helpful when I mentioned my dad's death. That was something I had to process. What helped more than anything was when I caught myself missing him or feeling sad and all that. It really helped just to ask, can I find where we're separate without a thought? You know, because that and then I'm back to no, yeah, it was really helpful. That said, it's getting close to that time. I just wanted to mention that tomorrow, if anyone wants to do this again, we'll be on Zoom at keep an eye on the clock, 9:30 a.m. Melbourne time. And all the details are on Bob's website.
Yeah, thank you. And for all the details altogether, there are other Zoom meetings in the evening, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Yeah, refer to the website. There's information about the books and cards and everything. You'll find a lot there. There's email of Bob and way to contact him as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Bob. Thanks, everyone.